what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with, now they looking nervously. And I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way.
What's the county D?
So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
Jen. And I told my wife to please tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the whole neighborhood.
Well, you really changed, man. All your music and arrangement. You don't know shit. Shut your mouth. You can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So I just had to jump on here. You know, when that feeling just hits, you have to speak, right? Even if I don't have a huge audience, I love the community that we built here, and I appreciate everybody that's listening to me. So Karen Reed is still fighting this battle to prove her innocence. I mean, technically the state has to prove she's guilty, and they don't have a case. Anybody that's followed it, I think it's pretty obvious. But unfortunately, the state doesn't see it that way. And there is a new district attorney. Well, he's not new, actually. I'm sorry. They've hired a new attorney, the same person who represented Whitey Bulger. So it's a defense attorney to prosecute her because Lally didn't do a good job. Lally was incompetent, and he basically went at it like a first-year lawyer, where he just like threw everything at the wall and saw what would stick. He was extremely nervous during the trial. And while he may have done well in the past, I have no idea, and I'm not going to go looking. He really sucked. If I thought that she was guilty, I would have been pissed because he really screwed the case up. But I think she's innocent, so I thought it was great. I don't understand how any of the jurors found her guilty. It's like mind-boggling. Brian Higgins was so obviously lying. Can we just remind ourselves about how he took out the SIM card from his phone and like crushed it and then disposed of it separately from his own phone on a military base? Does an innocent person do this? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Whatever texts or voicemails or anything that was on Brian Higgins' phone was inculpatory. It was incriminating, and it would have proved what happened that night. Now, we all have our own theories about that. But my theory is Brian Higgins has everything to do with what happened that night. Do we remember Brian Albert's testimony? Now, Brian Albert was really good, right? I mean, he is a cop's cop. He's been a cop or was a cop for however many years. But, you know, he was really good at answering the questions. But as good as he was, he did trip up quite a bit. And whenever someone answers a question like, I believe that's what happened, or I don't recollect, that's because they don't want to answer the question and lie under oath. And generally speaking, people don't like to lie anyway. Most people don't like to lie, and most people aren't good at lying. Now, I'm not talking about psychopaths or sociopaths. I don't think Brian Albert or Brian Higgins are either of them. I think there was a bad situation that unfolded and some decisions were made that they probably now regret. Regardless, I'm not saying either one of them is the murderer, but I am saying that I think they know exactly what happened and they are involved in some way. Neither of them have been charged as of yet, but it took us a long time for any of you guys following the Sandra Birchmore case. It took a long time to get her justice. First, Karen Reed has to be exonerated. And I'll admit, I wasn't entirely sure about her guilt or innocence in the beginning. I followed Turtle Boy, from the jump when he started following the case. And that was the first time I'd ever started listening to Turtle Boy. And so I didn't really quite know what to make of him. He is a character. He is hilarious. He is blunt. He has a foul mouth, which I do, so I can't blame him for that. But he's an honest person and he's telling the truth. And the way that they've tried to make this into a case against him and tying it into the Karen Reed case just shows how desperate they are. The fact that Turtle Boy was talking to Karen Reed the entire time he was reporting this case did not bother me whatsoever. In fact, when it came out, and I think it came out when he was in prison, I was just like, oh, yeah, I figured that much. Like, I think it was kind of obvious, guys. Anybody who was upset about that, like, I'm sorry that if you got upset and stopped following because of that, but I'm pretty sure it was obvious. Somebody was giving him information, and most likely it was somebody close to the case. And people got so butthurt over this, and I still don't quite understand why. Karen Reed was an anonymous, a confidential source, and Turtle Boy, like it or not, is a journalist, an investigative journalist. Yes, some of his prior reporting may have been a little lowbrow, if you want to call it that, more or less like the gossip around town and the crazy things that people do in your neighborhood. But there's a place for that. But he did more than just that, even before the Karen Reed case. He was responsible for exposing corruption in higher places before the Karen Reed case. So yes, he did some journalism that was sort of like National Enquirer, but it was real, just the weird, crazy stories that happen in your town, which is bread and butter. I mean, that's what most people want to read about anyway, the gossip crap. And it was real stuff, don't get me wrong, but that's what it was. I didn't follow him because I don't live in that town or that area. I'm in the Northeast, but not that far Northeast. But I'm familiar with Massachusetts and all the people named Sully and what Wicked Smart means. And I know where Newbury Comics first started. And I remember Tower Records in Boston. I mean, I lived there for a while, so I'm familiar. But, it's not like this is the first case he's covered where he's doing more highbrow journalism, where he's exposing actual corruption. And so a lot of people don't give him credit for that. And I just want to say, I think that we need more people like Turtle Boy. You might not like it, but if you were in Karen Reed's shoes, you'd be happy you had somebody like that in your corner, truthfully. So yeah, in case you didn't know about this case, or you just know about Karen Reed and you don't really know about Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy is, really what got the Karen Reed movement started. And it's a long story about how they got connected. She didn't reach out to him. They did it through a mediary. The mediary was named Natalie, and she was a wannabe friend of Karen's from college. But Karen probably didn't have many people she could reach out to back at that time. And then Jen Altman, who's a turtle rider, reached out to Karen somehow and said, hey, you should talk to Turtle Boy, because she knows that Turtle Boy amplifies messages that he believes in. And, I read some of those text messages with Turtle Boy and Karen Reed. And you could see he was questioning a lot. He didn't just open up his mouth and have her shovel in some shit and then report it. No, not at all. He questioned a lot of what Natalie was saying from Karen Reed. He questioned a lot of that. He asked all the questions that many of us asked that didn't know about this case. And he didn't get on board until he believed it. And he believes it. So whatever else you want to say about him, he's not grifting. He's not being paid by the Reed family. Do you think they're really that stupid? Do you think the Reed family comes off as stupid people? Like they're just going to pay Turtle Boy to push their narrative? I don't think so. And so, like true crime often does, drama ensues within the drama, within the crime, and spins off into all these other narratives. Why? Because people are fucking crazy. I used to watch Sean McDonough. He's that guy, Sean, on the golf. When he first came out, he was really the only police officer or retired law enforcement that would come on and talk about Karen Reed's innocence. So Turtle Boy was excited to have him on. He always seemed like kind of a blowhard to me, but, you know, he had this way of entertaining. He's a very entertaining person. But a lot of people with that type of personality are. They're very charming. They can be charismatic. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to tell a story. But the other thing they never know how to do is to shut up. Those kind of people, unfortunately, and you know you've got friends like that just like I do, but they just don't know when it's time to be quiet. The other problem with people like Sean McDonough is their ego is so fragile that when they have a perceived insult towards them in any way, shape, or form, you may not have even done it intentionally or known you did it, but it was perceived on his end, that's for sure. And then they will attack you. They will turn on you on a dime. These kind of people aren't loyal. Their only loyalty is to serve their own ego. And he, you know, really did an about face in this movement. And it's pretty sad, honestly. It's really pretty sad. And in all seriousness, you know, I liked Sean for a while, but then he had some guy on there who was trying to turn the Karen Reed into a QAnon case. And Sean was getting all pumped up. Clearly, he was he was one of the boomer QAnon followers. I mean, was he a January 6th? I'm just wondering. Clearly, he fell for all that bullshit. And he's still on the QAnon train. Or maybe he wasn't, because he acted like he never heard of George Soros or any of these people before. And I'm like, dude, this is the same old playbook, and it's been played for the past like 6 years. So, like, please, I couldn't listen to him after that. And then every once in a while I would tune in because he was always promising these big bombshells. He had these inside sources. It turns out he had no inside source. The only source he had was Natalie, Karen Reed's wannabe friend, who also is one of these people who, if they perceive there's some sort of slight or insult for them, will flip on you on a dime. And that's the sad part about it. And I think it's a learning lesson, I'm sure, that Karen Reed has learned at this point. And, you know, Turtle Boy, this has been happening to him for a long time. Anytime you get into the limelight, anytime you're on the upswing, you're going to have a bunch of people attaching themselves to your coattails as you're riding up to the top. And a lot of the people that complain about Turtle Boy, including the insufferable Kevin Linehan from Yellow Cottage Tales, who thinks that his IQ is higher than everybody in the room. And it's just not. It's just, I'm guessing he's to the left of the bell curve pretty far. I mean, maybe 100, maybe 90. I don't know. Not as smart as he thinks he is. Anybody who has to talk about how smart they are and put down their own audience, basically having contempt for their own audience, that's your first clue the person has no brains. Literally zero fucking brains when you have to talk about how smart you are. So that's Kevin Linehan. And he used to be all about Karen Reed is innocent until Turtle Boy said or did something that was a perceived insult to Kevin Linehan's ego. And then he decided to flip. And that's what Sean McDonough is doing now. And that's what a lot of other people have done. And then, of course, all the people that Turtle has written about over the years and busted and shined a light on for their bad behavior in the neighborhoods is their chance to get on board and add some hate to the Turtle and just hate Karen Reed because she's a byproduct. But, even without Turtle Boy being the one that sort of helped this movement skyrocket, it would have been someone else. It would have been something else. And whoever that person was would have had their own share of haters. Of course, Turtle Boy is more of a divisive figure. I think of him like a Donald Trump in a way. You either love him or hate him, and you feel passionate either way. I don't hate Turtle Boy whatsoever. And I'm not a fangirl. Like, I'm not fangirling over Turtle Boy. But I will say that I have respect for Turtle Boy. And he has integrity. And what he's doing is very important. And I just hope Karen Reed sees that. I think she does. I really do. I think she does. They just had this great, I don't know Karen Reed. I have a lot of respect, by the way, for her as well. The amount of shit that she is going through is unbelievable. And for her to persevere throughout all of this, to me, it's something else. It really is. I just have a lot of respect for her. I like to think I'd be the same way because if I didn't kill somebody, you are not getting me to say I did. You are not putting me in jail. And I don't care if people like me or not when I walk in with my awesome outfit and look beautiful. You guys can all fuck off because you're not the one who's being accused of murder when you didn't do it. So I have a lot of respect for Karen Reed. And they just had a fundraiser. Her family, I think it's her cousin Kelly, sort of put together, and they invited, some of the big supporters in the movement and content creators and stuff. And, it was really nice to see. And if you follow Turtle Boy, you can see that on his channel. But the reason I'm coming on here tonight is because of this man named, I think it's William M. Phelps, William Matt Phelps, Matt with a T, if that gives you a hint as to how pretentious this man truly is. He is so, I don't know, so cool, guys, that he doesn't use two T's when he spells his name Matt. He only needs one. I felt really bad when I heard Turtle Boy say that he had a entertainment lawyer and that it was also his manager. That was the first time I sort of felt a little, I don't know, drop in my stomach. But Turtle's smart, so I figured he checked the guy out. And he said he's partnered with this guy through his manager, entertainment lawyer, Matt with a T, 1T Phelps, who is going to do this incredible podcast, and we should all take a listen to it. And Matt Phelps has written all these true crime books, and he's just the greatest, and blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, Turtle Boy didn't do any due diligence on this issue, probably because he's got his own shitstorm he's going through in terms of the courts, in terms of his journalism, and, just all the other things in his life. And I think he just sort of got taken off guard and probably was pretty excited too. He's been at this for a very long time, and his success is deserved. And I think it's going to come for him. I really do. I mean, I think this story is going to continue to blow up, and there's so much in this story that it's easily written into a book from many different angles. And so I think, he probably just got really excited that this entertainment lawyer called him and said, I want to be your manager. And this entertainment lawyer, unfortunately, sold him a bag of goods. If I had been around Turtle Boy when he got this message, if I were his friend or a relative and heard him say that this particular entertainment lawyer was boasting about his work with the organization Open Secrets with Gabe Hoffman, I would have immediately told Turtle Boy, run away as fast as you can. if you're not familiar with Gabe Hoffman or Open Secrets, people initially gush over because they're like, oh my God, they exposed all this pedophilia. Oh my God, they're so amazing. Like, they're such great people. But like all of those organizations that say they're fighting for the poor, but really what they're doing is taking advantage of the poor, like the organizations that say they are serving medically underrepresented communities, and they're helping people who normally wouldn't get health care get it, but they're really taking advantage of those people and making a shit ton of money, like the organizations that say that they are for the children, but really they're taking advantage of the children in the background. That's what Open Secrets is, and that's what Gabe Hoffman is. And I know this because I followed that very intently, and I saw what he did on Twitter. I saw the messages that got people blocked. I got blocked because he only wanted to talk about one specific area, and that was it. It was a money grab. That's all it was. He doesn't care about kids. That's my opinion. So that would have been my first red flag, but I don't know Turtle Boy like that. So, you know, what can I do? I can just listen and say, oh, shit. And then I was like, well, let's see what this podcast is about. And the podcast is called 34 Fairview. And if you want to see what it's like to be in hell, you should go listen to it. You'll feel it. You'll really just feel it deep in your soul. You'll be like, oh, can I get out of here? Can I turn this off yet? And if you just make it continue to play, I think you'll get close to what it feels like to be in hell. You'll be screaming internally, probably. You'll probably be screaming internally as you listen to this pretentious man drone on and on, fact checking everything about the Karen Reed case that we all know inside and out because we've been following it for a long time. And this guy is just, see, what happened is this guy, turns out, is really good friends with Turtle Boy's entertainment lawyer. And I honestly think the whole scheme was probably something that, you know, they came up together. Phelps was like, oh, you know this Turtle Boy guy? Yeah, I've been following him. I've been a turtle rider for years. Oh yeah, let's get him. Let's get him because I want to make my next podcast on this, and I need exclusive rights to him. And you know, he just saw some money signs on Turtle Boy's success. These are the worst kind of people. The worst kind of people. Because this guy, Matt Phelps, nobody's ever heard of this guy. Yeah, he's got an IMDb profile, but like, he's just one of those like nameless, like Charlie Brown speaking figures in the background. When you watch an Oxygen TV episode, he's the alleged expert. And you know where his expertise comes from, where all this quote passion that he has for the truth and true crime comes from, is unfortunately he had a tragic incident happen in his life. Apparently someone very close to him was murdered. And while I do have sympathy for him for that, to use that as a catalyst for his shitty career in true crime, I'm just not seeing it. If maybe he was a good person with integrity and not another one of these people like Sean McDonough and Kevin Linehan, whose egos are just so fragile, then I would just give the guy the benefit of the doubt and say nothing. But he's not one of those people. He's just got another very, very large ego. Very, very large. And see, he wanted Turtle Boy to be his bitch. And, you know, when they decided to do this podcast, Turtle Boy invited him onto his show. And you could see right away this guy was a douche. Okay? Like, right off the bat. He was subtly putting Turtle Boy down, sort of placing himself above Turtle Boy because his work is more serious than Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy's just a cartoon character, don't you know? And William Matt with one T Phelps, he does serious journalism that brings about social change. He has done none of that. He couldn't inspire a dog to go out and take a shit when they had to. This man could not do that. He just couldn't. Not inspiring. He is a pseudo intellectual, and his podcast is horrible. And it's getting more and more horrible with each episode because now he has taken the tact that Karen Reed is guilty. Now, he hasn't said that, because he's going to tell you, like all these other jokers out here, that he's objective and he hasn't taken a side. But it's very clear whose side he is on when he's doing this podcast and saying the things that he is saying. And like I said, it's painful to listen to. The worst part about listening to the podcast is that he is just saying things as if he read over the case in a very cursory way. I don't even think he read the case. I don't think he even watched the trial like we all did. I don't think if you gave him a quiz on which person is a McCabe and which person is an Albert, that he would be able to pass. I really don't think he'd be able to pass that test. I think if you asked him, what bar they were in before they went to 34 Fairview, he wouldn't know the answer to that. He wouldn't know it. I wonder if he even knows John O'Keefe's history, how he lost his sister, moved in with his brother-in-law to help him, and then the brother-in-law died. I bet you he doesn't even know that. When we talk about how nobody pays attention to John O'Keefe, that's the big criticism, from the other side, the people that say people like me who believe Karen Reed is innocent are part of a cult. Because that's an intellectual defense, right? Like, that's a really good way to just shut somebody down. It's like when somebody doesn't want to get a vaccine and they call you an anti-vaxxer. It's like that. Or it's like when you don't agree with third-term abortions and they call you like a woman hater and, they have a meltdown. It's like that, right? It's not an argument. To dismiss anyone who thinks that Karen Reed is innocent as a cult follower is not only insulting and demeaning, it's ridiculous. And it just shows how small-minded some people are and how they really don't have an argument, okay? But sorry, I'm going to get off that tangent. I think I'll get back to Phelps in a minute because I have something to say about this guy because he has irritated me along with the entertainment lawyer / manager, the way that they came in and swooped on Turtle Boy to take advantage of him. But what they failed to realize, and you'd think the lawyer would have known better, but what they failed to realize is Turtle Boy's like Karen Reed. He is not going to give in. He will not. He will bite off his nose to spite his face if you are going to push him in this and don't give him the money that he should get. Although I doubt this podcast is going to do very well. Because even if he was on Karen Reed's, how about this? He doesn't have to be on the Karen Reed is innocent perspective. If he was objective, if he was just objective and giving objective arguments from both sides, I still wouldn't be able to listen to the podcast because the guy is so full of himself. He's so full of himself. And so people like him that have these amplified voices, they're like the legacy media leftovers. He's not going to be able to make it in the new world. You can't do what you've been doing. I mean, we all saw Rachel Maddow crying, right? We all saw her crying, right? Because Elon Musk said he might buy MSNBC and she started crying. I don't feel bad for her because I think Rachel Maddow is just an awful person. But in a way, it's funny in a way because it's just like, how ridiculous is this? That you allow other people to have that much sway over you. It's where we're at, right? It's very divided. It's fine. Everybody's egos are so fucking fragile. They can't handle a little scratch on it. So this Phelps character, I decided, well, yeah, I looked into him. I looked into his quote best-selling books that haven't sold anything and all that bullshit. But I found something else that I just wanted to share. So many issues with the new podcast Crossing the Line. I decided to check out the new I'm sorry, it's not William M. Phelps. It's M. William Phelps. Even more pretentious. These people that use the first initial and then the middle name. But let's remember the Matt is only one T. You have to remember that. Okay. It's really important. I bet he's one of those people that gets upset when you put two T's. Because he's different, guys. He is different than the rest of us. He knows better. And he has studied this case, apparently, even though the arguments that he sticks up for, he actually feels like he's like cracked the case on the 2:27 a.m. hustling to die in cold. He said it as if like this is so easy. Like, how can people be confused about this? Obviously, she didn't do it. Like that's the kind of attitude this guy has. That is the kind of attitude that this man has. And it's just like, wow. Wow. I'm just like, I'm listening to him and I'm just like, that's pretty much how I felt. That's how I felt when I listened to him. But anyway, this person writes in a true crime podcast Reddit thread, I decided to check out the new M. William Phelps podcast Crossing the Line this morning, and wow, just wow. Okay, first of all, it is himself and a co-host, some girl with the last name Everett, whatever, yada, yada, yada. The first episode was 43 minutes long, and the first 16 were all about them talking about how awesome they are at true crime stuff, and how Phelps has written books, been on TV, he's awesome, etc. 16 minutes. I timed out and then went to 4 minutes of commercials. I don't mind commercials. I don't. But 4 minutes before you got to the case is insane. Also talked about how they would text each other in the middle of the night while watching murder docs because the other was the only one who would understand the obsession with that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. Again, they're just so unique, these two, aren't they? Nobody else obsesses over this shit. Also talked about how they got into true crime with Phelps going on about how his sister-in-law was murdered in Connecticut. Okay, so it's his sister-in-law's tragedy that has catapulted him into this incredible investigative journalist reporter. Okay. He then went on to say how Florida is the drain of the United States. It's terrible and that all murders happen there and that it's awful. Being the host of a true crime podcast that takes a look at each one of the 50 states and how great they are and how each one has something to offer, this really pissed me off. Ignorant to say and completely untrue. I agree with this person. He also said that most adults who go missing want to go missing. Okay. You sound like you really understand true crime. Also completely untrue and totally irresponsible. And finally, the icing on the cake. The first ad I heard was for investing in Puerto Rican municipal bonds, junk bonds. What now? I used to work in securities law, and I can tell you that no one should be investing in Puerto Rican bonds right now. How reckless and ill-advised is it that to have your first ad be for that? I don't care if Merrill Lynch approached me tomorrow and wanted to sponsor my podcast for X amount of money to tout worthless Puerto Rican junk bonds. I would not do it. I'm not that imprudent or that much of a sellout. That is all. That's a review on this Matt with 1T Phelps. And this was from 2 years ago. Oh, but there's more. I thought this is another person they pipe in. I thought Paper Ghost was pretty bad as well, to be honest. It seemed like an interesting story, but was put together in such a confusing way that I eventually had to give up because I could not follow where he was trying to lead. He introduces these missing and murdered people and then spends like 2 episodes on some shady, vague acquaintance to these girls or something. He also spent a ton of time talking about how impressive he was, which I think made me even less lenient towards the pod. Like, dude, you should know better. Yes, dude. He should. Next person. Yeah, that sounds about right. I listened to it long ago. Don't remember much. I won't be listening to many more of his. Next person. Same. I thought Paper Ghost was awful and couldn't finish it. Next one. I could not stand Paper Ghost. He was so full of himself and his voice drove me nuts with 4 U's. That's how nuts they made this person. That's how nuts this person got. They probably felt like this. Just like me. Yeah, I started it, but the host was up his own ass. Thought he was the shit. He also made comments about how this isn't some immature true crime show. Yeah, it's far worse. This was 2 years ago. If only Turtle Boy had read the Reddit thread on Matt with 1T Phelps. LOL, yes, he did, and totally far worse. I loved how he was all, I decided to do this weekly podcast for all of you because I noticed there was a lot lacking in the true crime space that only I could fill. It was basically, he was saying, you're welcome, everybody, for something no one asked for. Oh my God. Oh my God. Thanks for this review. The next person. I really appreciate the time you put into this because it helps someone like me decide whether a podcast is worth listening to. I've read a few of M. William Phelps's books. Not bad. I classify them as a true crime version of a beach read. He really, really wants people to know. I know what it's like because he mentions it frequently in his books, his TV show, Dark Minds, and now his podcast. Big turnoff. A few minutes of banter between hosts at the beginning is fine. But to spend over 15 minutes patting themselves on the back and then a commercial break before getting to the story, no thank you. Also making a statement such as most adults who go missing want to go missing is an immediate red flag, especially for a true crime author. Yes, I might try Paper Ghost, but based on your review, I'm going to avoid crossing the line. Both Phelps and his co-host don't seem to be likable, and it's all about them, not the case. Next person. Thanks so much. That's very nice. I have not read his books. Not that I'm averse to it. I would be down with a true crime beach read. Maybe that medium is better for him. Man, these people are really desperate, right? For some true crime shit. That even after all of this and agreeing that this guy is full of himself and has no integrity and just talks about himself, they're still like, maybe I could just do a true crime beach read because like I just need something. I will say I did enjoy his show Dark Minds. I like the premise and the cases covered. I think it was through Phelps that I first heard about Israel Keys. He's covered some interesting cases. I think you're right, though, and books are probably a better medium for him instead of podcasts. Somebody says, especially with those tons of ads. That's why I like CBC and BBC. Let's see. Is there anything else here? I'm retired and pensioned. If I had better internet and time management skills, I'd do a podcast for free. Next person. Phelps is a hideous writer and sucks all the oxygen out of the room. On whatever show he's on, a bloated, self-loathing, unbearably pompous bore.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah, absolutely. The person says, okay then, haha. He goes, LOL, sorry for the vitriol towards him. I do appreciate your thorough review. These people are so nice and they're still shitting all over Phelps. Does that give you any hint as to how horrible he comes across? Yes, I can't stand his commentary with the stupid rhetorical questions. And he talks like he is the fly in the room, but he's just making up these situations. He knows exactly what the murderer is thinking, according to him. Oh my God. It was so cringy, probably the least amount of actual content compared to senseless banter and ads I've heard to date. This one should go over well if Phelps ever read it. It's perfect for him. Just so you know, this is what people think. To be fair, I prefer more deep investigation pods rather than those chatty ones. But it's good to know what to steer clear of. And let's remember, he's a serious investigative journalist. Not according to these people. Random anonymous people on a Reddit thread 2 years ago. not Turtle Boy haters or I'm sorry, Turtle riders that hate you just because they think, your pod sucks because Turtle Boy said so. No, no, no. This was 2 years ago, buddy. 2 years ago, Phelps, that all these people were bitching about you. Thanks for the heads up. I was iffy on trying this. However, as a longtime resident of Florida, I can tell you he's not wrong. I've never heard of M. William Phelps, and so far I didn't miss much. I tried to listen to him on Paper Ghost 3 different times and couldn't get past 10 minutes. What you said about the host's attitude towards himself seems to permeate his work. Not going to check it out, another person says. So anyway, I could go on. I mean, this is a really long thread where they're literally just shitting all over Phelps and how horrible he is. And, oh, interesting. Somebody wrote this in here 18 days ago. So all these posts are from 2 years ago, but 16 days ago, user electronic_base wrote, Matt Phelps totally played Turtle Boy. Yeah, he did. But you made a really big error here, electronic base. You spelled Matt with 2 T's. So this person says about the new podcast, it's wrong and bad on so many levels. I don't think I can even take this guy at his word again. His reputation has been so totally trashed on this. Wow. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and read others trash it's M. William Phelps. Why? Because I didn't like the way he was talking to Turtle Boy. It reminds me of the way that Kevin Linehan talks to his audience, like they're pieces of shit, and he's sitting above them because he's far superior intellectually and knowledge, and he's just like a unique human being. When really all these people are ginormous little boys who think they're men, but they're not. They're not behaving like men whatsoever. Men don't behave this way, right? Sure, you could feel like you might know something more about a topic than someone else, but to treat them that way in such a snide, callous way, and then put yourself above them and their listeners because you're better, you're intellectually superior, which you're definitely not. I just want to let you know, most definitely you are not. And then, really, that's not the way men behave, right? Like real men would debate Turtle Boy. If somebody actually, I don't even believe Phelps knows what he thinks about this case. He's just taking a spin on it now to be a dick because Turtle Boy didn't do all the grunt work. Turtle Boy shared all the text messages. Phelps was like, yeah, can you send me this? And can you get me that? And can you do this? And can you send me that? What? Turtle Boy isn't your bitch. He's one of those kind of people, right? He's one of those kind of people. And that's not going to fly with somebody like Turtle Boy. It wouldn't fly with somebody like me. And I don't think many people would. I think he thought Turtle Boy would be like, oh my God, he was on Oxygen TV. Nobody cares, dude. Nobody even watches Oxygen TV anymore. And so it really just pissed me off to watch him talk to the turtle that way. And Turtle can handle himself. I don't need to stick up for him or anything. I'm saying this because the guy irritates the hell out of me. And I don't like what he's saying about Karen Reed and all this other stuff either. Why? Because it's not accurate. It's just not accurate. And it's just like Kevin Linehan's stupid fucking arguments on how she's guilty and how she's this and that. I love how these people start to talk about her personality as if they fucking know her. I could say some things about Karen Reed's personality. And in fact, I did say, I think in the beginning when I did a live when I first started that I, based on the whole Higgins interaction, that she seemed to be maybe a little manipulative. But a lot of women are. A lot of women are. I'm sure I've been manipulative in situations too. But I didn't paint that into some sort of and that means that she's she's a this and that and whatever they're saying about her. I mean, they have to convince themselves she's the bad guy when she's so clearly not. She's so clearly not. I think the problem is a lot of these types of people don't have discernment. Because they don't have discernment, they can't tell, like many of us, when somebody is full of shit. I still get fooled. I'm not going to lie. I still get fooled all the time. But with age, I figured out much more quickly. My mother's always been one of those people. Her discernment is insane. She can look at you and talk to you for a second. I can do that a lot of the times as I've gotten older. And sometimes I can even look at a picture and I know what you're all about. It's crazy. And I don't act on that. So don't get all weird about it. I don't act on it. I still wait and see, but I test my theory out. 9 times out of 10, I was right. And I don't pass judgment on people immediately. So it's not about that either. I give people a chance, just like these people in the Reddit thread. We're really giving Phelps a chance. Well, maybe I could buy his book. Maybe I'll listen to that instead of the podcast. No, why would you do anything for this man who says that when missing people go missing, it's because they want to? That's the kind of person he is. That is the kind of person he is. And we're supposed to think that he has some superior knowledge to impart on us regarding true crime? No, man, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll admit it, I don't like it when, Turtle Boy calls John O'Keefe's mother names and stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if I like it. And truthfully, in some ways, I think he's doing it to try to wake the woman up. I really do believe that. They say truth hurts. It does hurt when you don't want to accept it. I personally wouldn't do it, but maybe somebody needs to. I don't know. And that's fair if that's not your cup of tea or you don't like it. And again, I don't condone it. And I don't think that about her. I don't know the woman, okay? But I do think she's really confused, unfortunately. I think she's really confused. And she has been bamboozled by a master manipulator by the name of Jennifer McCabe. So, and then lastly, I'll just add this. The people like me, and probably you if you're listening, who side on the person like Karen Reed, like we have the perspective of Karen Reed that she's innocent. And we have the perspective of Richard Allen that he's innocent, or at least that he wasn't proven guilty, right? And we have the perspective of Brian Koberger that he's presumed innocent. Again, I don't know if he's innocent or guilty, but I'm still going to give him that presumption until court because there's so much unknown about that case. But people who do that, that's we, the people of the United States of America. That's what we're supposed to do. See, we're not in a country where an accused person should be convicted and hung without any evidence. We're in a country where the government has to prove to 12 people that you did it. They have to prove to 12 people that you did it. And all those people have to agree. That's the country we live in. And while, yeah, there are some cases that seem pretty cut and dry, and I can name some. Stephen Stearns. Nobody's going to be starting a free Stephen Stearns movement. And even those people have people that side with them and just like, I love you anyway. You're a serial killer and I want to marry you. I mean, whatever. There's somebody for everybody in this crazy world. But at the end of the day, defense attorneys and requiring the state to meet their burden is the most American thing you can do. And when we stop doing that, we are going to lose our justice system. We already have, because this shit that's going on in Delphi and in Canton and in Moscow, Idaho, are only the ones we know about, or at least we were focusing on. But this shit happens everywhere. It really happens everywhere. And it's making me kind of want to go and look at some cases in my own jurisdiction, because I can't change those things. other than support from afar, make a podcast or something, or talk about it and share my opinions and get people to think about it. But it's an American right. It's part of our Constitution. It's very unique to our country. And so all these other people that want to call us like, oh, you love murderers or whatever, they're just like, they have no concept of what of what alleged freedom really is. I mean, I'm not going to say we're free because we're really not, but we're more free than I would say 99% of the world when we live in America. At least we can have the appearance of freedom, right? We're still not free. Let's not get it twisted, but we're much more free than pretty much any other country in the world. And, freedom isn't free. It has to be fought for. Blood, sweat, and tears. Freedom is not free. It's really not. And I'm afraid the minds and bodies of all of us have gotten lazy, mine included. And so that's why I get all amped up about this stuff, because I don't understand people with these kind of mentalities, like Phelps, who, because of his own ego, he is now going to do a full podcast about Karen Reed and saying the most disparaging things, not even factual, about her. Or Kevin Linehan, the same bullshit, right? Same bullshit. Attacking her personally. When, by the way, she's still considered presumed innocent. And I believe she is innocent. I saw the whole first trial. The state doesn't have bullshit. They don't have jack shit. And I'll just make one last statement, and that is this. The new prosecuting attorney, the one who is an actual defense attorney in real life, but the state has nobody they think is capable of or is willing to prosecute Karen Reed. That guy. Yeah, he was annoying. The way he had his like JFK accent and a little uptight and pandering to the judge, which just made him look really weak. But the one thing I noticed about him was he seems to have, I don't know, maybe some integrity. And I also noticed that I don't think he knows much about this case. I'd really like to know how he came about that position. But I have a feeling that as we progress towards her trial, which I don't think the judge has agreed on moving the date from January yet, but as we progress towards her trial, he may not want to press charges against her either. He may see that they can't find an expert to counteract, or it doesn't even have to counteract. I don't think they're going to be able to prove it. And I think he's going to find that as he goes through this case, that he doesn't have a fucking case. And so I'm really curious how this will play out. I really am. Because the one thing I will say that I liked about him, even though he's the prosecutor, at this moment, I still have respect for him. Now that could change. But the one thing I noticed was he was at least respectful to the other attorney, to Yannetti, to Jackson. He wasn't doing these jabs and rolling his eyes and acting like these people are just like horrible people because they're representing Karen Reed. No, he acted like a man. He acted like a member of the bar should act, with respect. And, Judge Bev wasn't too happy about it. She was kind of like snipping at him a little. So I'm very curious how this is going to play out. I have my thoughts as to how it may not play out at all, and Karen Reed might just be done. But we'll have to wait and see for that. Anyway, that's it, guys. Just going to play my outro because this song just always makes me feel better. Always makes me feel better. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that little rant. All right, have a good night, guys.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you you can go kick rocks. I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Jen. And I told my wife to please tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the whole neighborhood.
You think you're fucking better, see? I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks.